presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball on the banks of the Mississippi in downtown St. Louis from Busch Stadium. It's the Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cardinals in Game 3 of their 4-game series. Kubota Power Stats, Lafayette High Schools and Missouri State's Ryan Howard moving up on the all-time home run list. He's at number 81 as he hit number 363 last night. This would prove to be the winning run in the game. The only run in the game. A solo shot from the big first baseman. And along with Jim Hayes and Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Great to have you with us. The Cardinals playing in game number 28 of their season tonight. Well, lo and behold, it's their 28th different lineup.
Yeah, they've been really mixing things up. And today they got a left-hander on the mound who made his major league debut against the Cardinals last season. And he's left-handed, so Mike has been creative, and he has an all right-handed hitting lineup. Yachty will be at first base.
It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. A look at the two starters. Adam Morgan in the rotation after the injury to Charlie Morton. And for the St. Louis Cardinals, Mike Leake still looking for that elusive first win of 2016. Cards and Phils coming up tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. This Saturday, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive this one-of-a-kind Shannon jersey, courtesy of Goodwill. Visit Cardinals.com/promotions for tickets. Mike Leake gets the call tonight. A look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal. What's interesting is ground ball percentage due to his off-speed pitches. About 73%. That's the highest among all his pitches. We'll see if it's working tonight. Leake still trying to get that first win of 2016. The St. Louis Cardinals, Philadelphia Phillies. It comes your way next. Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. It is a gorgeous night here in the Gateway City. Welcome inside Busch Stadium along with Jim Hayes, Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. It is 63 degrees as Yadier Molina, yep, don't change the channel. He's at first base tonight. Eric Fryer is behind the plate. Taking a look at the Phillies lineup. It's not a great offense, but they're winning games. Herrera, Galvis, Franco, followed by Ryan Howard, who homered here last night, number 6 on the year. Carlos Ruiz, Hernandez, Lowe, Morgan, and Goodell. Mike Leake, 6 start, 0-3 his record.
Averaging 5 2/3 innings per start. I'm sure that will increase as it goes along. And he's much better once he hits May, and even better than that in June. So.
And we're underway here at Busch Stadium. The first pitch is popped back and foul. What have you seen with Mike Leake so far?
Seen a lot of balls up in the zone, and for a sinker baller, you know, he's got to keep the ball down, get those ground balls. But the biggest thing has just been one big bad inning, and every start he's had a bad inning.
Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes, and you could take that statement even further with the last time through the entire rotation of the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's right. And
Overall,
Waka had a
okay.
he had a really bad inning.
Yeah.
He gave up 1 run.
Well, that was it. Works from that first base side of the rubber. As Herrera goes down to get it, hits a fly ball out to right. Piscotty drifting back on the track and makes the catch. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, the Cardinals defense tonight. Holiday in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty is in right field. Ruben Tejada, not Matt Carpenter. Tejada is at third, Diaz at short, Jerko at second, Molina at first, Eric Fryer is behind the plate. So Tejada gets the start at third. It's the first time that Matt Carpenter, at least for now, has not been in a ball game.
All right-handed hitting lineup for the Cardinals. Some of those guys in that dugout don't know what to do.
Molina backing up. Yachty, by the way, grew up as a third baseman, wasn't shifted to behind the plate until 15, 16 years old. We always see him taking ground balls to warm up before games, and very, very smooth when we see that.
Yeah, and he'll take ground balls at third, at short, over at first base. So I think Mike Matheny's very comfortable putting him in there, and let Eric Fryer work with Mike Leake for the second time in a row. I think that's important too.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to Jed Jerko. Moves to his right for out number 2.
That's what you want to see from Mike Leake. You want to see those ground balls in the infield. That's when he's on top of his game.
Maikel Franco, his last 9 games, just 5 for 33. That's a 152 average. As I mentioned earlier, it's an offense that doesn't score a lot of runs, but boy, can they pitch.
They really can, and you know they have to score runs. Like the other day, they had a game where they won 2-1. Second run was balked in. Last night they've had a couple 1-0 victories.
Low strike, 0-2.
Phillies pitchers have already, Dan, been involved in 6 shutout performances, so they're doing their job pitching.
Here's an 0-2 upcoming to Maikel Franco. Last year burst onto the scene, 80 games and popped 14 home runs. Back to Leake. He'll step and throw to Yadier Molina. 2 ground ball outs and a 1-2-3 for Mike Leake. There is no score here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Aledmys Diaz will lead it off. New territory in professional baseball for him, not overall. Stephen Piscotty and Matt Holliday, as Al mentioned, all right-handed lineup. Grichuk, Molina, Jerko, Tejada, Fryer, and the pitcher Leake. Arcia in the driver's seat. It's not just Adam Morgan, it's the entire pitching of the Phillies. 6 shutouts. That is first in all of baseball. They lead in strikeouts, relief wins, and saves. They have absolutely pitched. popped up. Howard giving chase. And strike one.
Bob McClure probably having a lot of fun because he's got a lot of kids to work with. Kind of get them over the mental hump up here. But Pete Mackanin, new manager for Philadelphia. He was the interim manager last year and did a nice job. They signed him up through I think it's a 3-year contract now. And these young troops have been responding. Some people think they might have started a little late with their rebuilding project, but I think they're a little further along than some of the other clubs we've seen.
Here's an 0-2. Diaz never bat first at the AAA level, which was a very short stint there at the end of last season. At AA, he took only 8 at bats leading off the course of 2 games in 2014. He was 1 for 8 with a couple of strikeouts. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Little bit of a funk right now, 2 for his last 18.
He's got 1 hit in the series, and that was a memorable one up in the upper deck.
2-2 pitch. Fly ball lifted into right, backing up David Lowe. First out. Dobbs, Arenado centers. Goodell is in left, Herrera in center, and Lowe is in right. Franco, Galvis, Hernandez, and Howard along the infield, and Carlos Ruiz is behind the plate. Cardinals have dropped 5 of 6, and in that time, just 6 runs in the 5 losses. So trying to gain traction with this all right-handed lineup. Score some runs.
Cardinals as a team have hit a little bit better against lefties, but part of that significant average is a bunch of left-handed hitters.
Long way to go for David Lowe, and out of play. Good effort. Adam Morgan, his big league debut was against the Cardinals last June 21st. That was in Philly. 1 run in 5 2/3. Look at his pitch arsenal. Fastball is around 90-91. Not a hard thrower, but is able to spot that fastball, and that's when he has success.
They say all their young pitchers have the ability to pitch on both sides of the plate, but primarily, as we saw last night, they will pitch down and away to the right-handed hitters. Remember what was odd about his major league debut last year is he got promoted without a win.
Flips over to Ryan Howard for out number 2. 6 is a serious number at On the Run. When the Cardinals score 6, any size drink is just 50 cents the next day. That is coffee found in frozen drinks. When they score, you pour at your nearest On the Run. You earned it. He pitched at Alabama. His father was a pitcher on the Crimson Tide's 1983 SEC championship team. That team also, by the way, was the runner-up for the national championship as they finished behind Texas. Here's Holiday, and a fastball misses in.
He was a top prospect a couple years ago, and then he had shoulder surgery and then kind of fought his way back. He was dueling with Vasquez for the 5th spot in the rotation this spring.
And Holiday reaching for it, hits a fly ball out to right, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. Mike Leake, very efficient in the top of the 1st, returns for the top of the 2nd when we come back. blanked Atlanta. The Cubs just keep on rolling. 6-2 winners today. They swept the 3-game series at PNC Park against Pittsburgh, and the Nationals beat Kansas City. And a 4-game series is coming up at Chicago tomorrow. Here's Ryan Howard. 66 career games against the Cardinals in the regular season. He's failed to reach safely in only 5 games. .439 is on-base percentage against St. Louis.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
That's 10th best all time.
And yet, if we think about it, especially when he's playing here at home at Busch Stadium, you know, he just hits a home run at least once a series. Does a lot of damage. He's second on the all-time home run list in Phillies history, second to Mike Schmidt. He won't catch him. But 363 home runs.
And a strikeout for Mike Leake. Let's turn to Al's Toyota key to the game.
Well, we really got to avoid the big inning, and I'm talking pretty much about Mike Leake. You know, in his 5 previous starts, he's always had 1 inning. They've all been crooked innings, a number up there, and usually it's 3, if not more. So avoid that. Get that sinker going again. He pitched very well against the East last year. He's undefeated, and he has a 6 overall ERA against the Pirates, but recently he's 2-0 with 3 starts with an ERA under 2. So hopefully that's more of what we can expect.
Real key for Mike Leake, key for any pitcher, get through the first inning. He came into first innings with an ERA that was over 5, and he had a 10-pitch first inning, and 9 of the 10 were strikes. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Carlos Ruiz. Now time is called.
Right now he's got 17 pitches, and 14 of those are strikes. So
that's it out of play. Ruiz and Howard, leftovers of that great run that the Phillies had, and it took him a long time to get to the big leagues. He spent 8 years in the minor leagues. Came up to the Phillies in 2006. He is from Panama. Good player. Not great, but good.
He's 37, and Ryan Howard, the last year on his contract, neither one of them were tradable, so they find themselves here. But you saw last night, Howard contributed, game-winning home run, and Ruiz has a 6-game hitting streak, batting almost 500.
Curveball is pulled foul. Be very interesting to see if Ryan Howard, if this is indeed his final year, would he accept a trade potentially to a team that's in a race and that needs power, let's say off the bench against right-handed starters, or that big pinch hitter. Ground ball that's hit to Ruben Tejada. Good start for Leake. 5 up, 5 down. Unique combination tonight. Third baseman Ruben Tejada to first baseman Yadier Molina.
You see his little guy, but look at his arm. Arm strength there, significant.
Molina at first base. This is the 34th time he's played the position. Only his 5th start in the big leagues. Just 75 innings.
Now we saw with Hernandez the way he can run. All the Cardinal infielders need to be on their toes and don't lollygag a throw over to Yachty. This kid can run.
Good pitch in on his hands. He is from Venezuela. Unique to see that he's a teammate of Freddie Galvis. Those two grew up playing Little League together. And here they are in the big leagues on the same team.
Good cutter there.
And a strikeout from Mike Leake. 2 in the inning, 2 tonight. Coming up, Grichuk, Molina, and Jerko. Midway through 2. Phils, Cardinals, no score. The Cardinals in our BJC Healthcare Difference Maker, 7 or more runs. When they score 7 or more, well, they've done that 13 times. First in the big leagues, 1 run or less, 9 times, second most. Feast or famine.
And really, to take it a little bit step further, the Cardinals are 13-5 when they score more than 3. So you can see all 13 of those wins were 7 or more runs.
Grichuk, a fly ball into right. Catch made by David Lowe. He's made 3 catches already. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Mike Matheny said Matt Carpenter didn't want to take a day today, but with a day game tomorrow and a long stretch of games ahead, Mike Matheny thought it was best. So Mike told me he had to figure out who was going to be in the leadoff spot. He said he likes the fact that Aledmys Diaz has found sort of a comfort level in that number 8 spot, but he opted for Aledmys. Diaz told me it's nothing new. He was his team's leadoff hitter his first 3 years in Cuba. He also told me he won't change his approach at all. He said he just wants to continue doing what he's doing. Matheny says the fact that Diaz isn't striking out is a plus, and they love his 2-strike approach. Dan, Diaz is hitting .364 with 2 strikes.
The toughest, as you mentioned, to strike out in the big leagues. And a high fly ball into left center field. This will be Herrera who makes the catch. So 4 fly ball outs. First time under 400 all year long for Aledmys Diaz. Came in second in average to Martin Prado, who's batting now .398 for the Marlins.
And one of the things that Jed Jerko, they wanted him for his ability to hit left-handed pitching. It hasn't happened yet, but over the course of his career, he's been good.
First pitch is strike. This year, the Cardinals are 10th in Major League Baseball against lefties. Last season, hit just .230. And the idea with Jerko would be, in particular with Colt Wong, you have a tough lefty. Jerko
Sure.
would play second base. And the 0-2 pitch.
Adam Morgan has said that one of his problems has been is no trouble getting ahead in the count, but then putting hitters away has been troublesome in the minor leagues. Not so much tonight.
Gets him to reach. It's popped up into shallow center. Long way to go. May drop. It does. Base hit, Jed Jerko. Herrera and Lowe playing fairly deep.
Well, Herrera took his first step was backwards, and that's what doomed him. Lowe saw that, and he came in rushing hard, but by that time the right fielder couldn't get there. A ball like that obviously should be caught, but we've noted in this series that their outfielders usually do play awfully deep.
In steps Ruben Tejada.
I would think after the first game of the series, some of their outfielders wanted to play on the wall. With the 5 home runs the Cardinals hit in that game.
Tejada took a peek down at third baseman Michael Franco. Jerko back safely at first. In his career, Tejada, coming into this season, only 18 starts at third base, so the position is not foreign to him. 110 at second, nearly 400 at shortstop. So once again, if you're just tuning into the telecast here tonight, Matt Carpenter sits, and he's appeared in all 27 games the Cardinals have played in.
I'm sure he'll get in this one.
Pretty good bench. You have Moss, Hazelbaker, Wong, Adams, and Carpenter.
They do have 2 left-handers in their bullpen, but I would assume that in a close game they're only going to use one of them. But they have their strength has been the right-handed relief work now. They got some good ones down there.
And a swing and a miss by Tejada. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mentioned when he made Morgan made his major league debut, He was 0-6. You don't usually get called up when you're 0-6 at AAA, but they needed an arm. He ended up beating the Cardinals in that first game, and it was at that time it was the first time a starting pitcher had won in 25 starts for the Phillies.
Here's a 1-2 instead of check on the runner. And because of the shoulder issues and subsequent surgery that he had, Phillies cut his season short. And in his first start, in place of the injured Charlie Morton, who by the way is out for the year with a hamstring injury, Morgan allowed 3 runs, 5 innings against the Indians last Friday. Got a no decision and a 4-3 Phillies win.
I said he was battling for the 5th spot in spring training with Vasquez, who probably is their ace now. He's probably their ace, and they said that Morgan really only gave his first start. He gave up a 2-run home run to, I think, A-Rod, and after that was all they scored. But
1-2 is off of Morgan. Tejada racing down the line and out. Cardinals strand a runner. We head to the 3rd, and there's no score. Cardinals baseball on your home of the Birds. Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals, and by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. Beautiful night, cool evening here in St. Louis. Glad that you're with us and enjoying Cardinals baseball wherever you may be. Here's David Lowe, 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup for the Phillies. First 6 have been retired by Mike Leake. It's sharply to Yadier Molina, positioned perfectly for the first out. Corner position, not much time to react. Right at him.
Right there, and maybe a little bit harder than most of the ones he sees in infield practice, but he was there for it. Had no problem.
John Mozeliak was asked about Yadier Molina today, and he said, if I had to say what my biggest surprise was in spring training, it's Molina. We anticipated a stint on the DL. Not only is he not on the DL, but he's been exceptional to start this year. Been really good.
Yeah.
Plays every day. He's produced at the plate. The 0-2 pitch. Little chopper to Leake off the mound and to Molina. That looked easy, but it's not as easy as he just made it. It's back, Cardinals fans. Refreshing taste of the frozen strawberry lemonade. It's available all summer long, and it's only at McDonald's.
That was a very nice play. We've always talked about Mike Leake being such a good athlete, one of the top hitting pitchers in the game. Always fields his position well, and if you've got a sinker baller like he is, you release that ball and you become a fifth infielder.
Tyler Goodell batting ninth. No Peter Borges tonight, but Borges made an impact in the game last night with a great catch off the bat of Randall Grichuk that saved a base hit. Extra base hit probably, and also a run from scoring. High chopper, tough play here. Diaz. Oh, what a play! Aledmys Diaz. My goodness, what a play. Deep in the hole, it's short, and shows off the arm with an off-balance throw. How good is this? Tremendous play from Aledmys Diaz. 9 up, 9 down for Mike Leake as they get Tyler Goodell with the final out. Clearly out. It'll be Fryer, Leake, and Diaz coming up. We head to the bottom of the third here in St. Louis. No score. Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And a ball to Eric Fryer, who is 7 for 11. He had a start against the Cincinnati Reds earlier this year. He told me his phone was just blowing up. He's from that area. Everybody back home was watching. And he's done a very nice job as the backup to Yadier Molina.
Yeah, this is the second time in a row he's caught Mike Leake, and I think that's important too. But here he feels like he gets cheated right off the very end of the bat. Ruiz was able to pounce on that quickly. So both pitchers are pretty much locked in.
There's Mike Leake, who is 1 for 9 with an RBI to start the year.
He's trying to imitate Adam Wainwright. Jimmy's guest today was Adam Wainwright.
Cardinals trying to pick up wins and do it specifically here at home. They've lost 8 of 14 now here at Busch Stadium. The team didn't lose their 8th at home until June 30th last year, as they went 55-26, and that was the best home record in the major leagues.
I was going to say, we're always going to seem like we're going to be 50 and over, and last year was the best with 55. take advantage of this atmosphere.
Strikeout of Leake. First strikeout for Adam Morgan, the highest winning percentage at home since 2006. That's when this ballpark opened up, and the Cardinals trailing just the Yankees. They've never had a losing record here at home since it opened up in 06. The first pitch was delivered by Mark Mulder, also homered that day against the Milwaukee Brewers.
It's the first homer, or was it the first Cardinal homer in the new stadium? Cardinal.
Albert Pujols also homered that day. Scott Rowland had a couple of RBIs. So we get a look at our Missouri Lottery Fox tracks on Aledmys Diaz.
Well, the thing about him is you know, so few strikeouts. Came in yesterday's game, and there's another one. It's 4 strikeouts in a row, but he came in yesterday with 5 strikeouts and 5 home runs.
Rolls in, and there's no score from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Glad that you're with us. A little help here, says Mike Leake. Run support. It's been about 2 a game is what it averages out to be. So little run support, eliminate a big inning here or there. Mike Leake maybe has a different record, but it is what it is.
Remember early in his earliest starts, when the defense was pretty porous, it seemed like he was victimized by more errors in the infield than other pitchers.
Here's a 1-0 pitch, top of the lineup. Here's Herrera. Slaps it the other way, foul. Last start for Mike Leake, 5 runs, 7 innings against Washington. I think of concern for the Cardinals, it's not what the lefties are doing against Leake, but the righties. They came in with a .324 average against him this season, and prior to that, average of right-handed hitters was only .254.
I just think that for whatever reason he was leaving more balls up, out over the plate. Didn't have quite the bite that it looks like he has tonight.
2-1 pitch, backhanded by Molina, stays with it. Leak to the bag for the out.
Hey, if you're an 8-time Gold Glover, you can field your position, can't you? This may be a new position, but nice job by Yachty.
I'm sure this puts a smile on the face of Jose Oquendo, who was in St. Louis this past week. And if you did not hear, Oquendo will be done for the year and having knee surgery knee replacement surgery. It's a serious issue. So he will recover down near the Jupiter area. And he's also working with some of the young players down there, and my understanding is really enjoying it.
Well, I remember when he first was, when Oquendo was in the minor leagues and coaching and teaching. Tony La Russa asked him to join his staff, and first time he said no. Then they asked him again another time, and he said, well, maybe I better do it. But what was it, 16, 17 years later? Recognized one of the best infield instructors. In my mind, just a terrific third base coach. Very, very aggressive at third base and helped the Cardinals win a lot of ball games.
With the influx, too, of Latin players.
Sure.
Bilingual. That is such a factor, too, and just trying to have a casual conversation, comfort some of these players. Slap the other way, and the first base hit off the bat of Freddie Galvis. Big night for the Blues in Game 3 last night. And it's Game 4 tomorrow against the Stars. Fox Sports Midwest, the Blues, Bud Light join together to playoff rally before every game. So get there early, enjoy live music and prizes. Be there tomorrow before the game to cheer on the Blues. Michael Franco.
Let's hope we can keep him down. Don't let him get hot before he gets out of town.
Now 5 for his last 34. It was another 1-0 win last night for the Phillies. They already have had 11 one-run games and won 9 of those. Usually young teams don't do that.
No, they don't.
1-0 pitch taken in the dirt.
I think the first 3 or 4 games they had like an ERA of their bullpen over 12, and then all of a sudden Cannon put Denmar Gomez in the closer's role, and everything started clicking. He's 9 for 9 to save opportunities, but everybody else has been doing the job.
But last night with Neris, how good he was in the 8th. He struck out the side.
I talked to Pete about that today, and he said, well, he's probably going to be my closer next year. And then he goes, well, it might be this year too, but you need that little tutoring in the 8th inning before you can take over the 9th.
The check on Freddie Galvis. Phillies have been a hot team. They've won 7 of 8. They are 5 games above the 500 mark. And one of the big surprises thus far in all of baseball. A team that has just been awful this year in their division, the Atlanta Braves. And a lot of talk the last 24 hours about the future of Freddie Gonzalez. But what's he to do with that team?
Yeah, that's not fair.
3-0 pitch, and he's swinging away.
They dismantled that ball club, kind of gearing towards moving into their new stadium. AC Franco swinging that pitch, kind of a pitcher's pitch, but you see there's no 2-strike approach for that swing. Down on the knob, just trying to swing for the fences. Good hitters count here.
Let's see if Galvis wants to do some running on a count of 3 balls and 1 strike. Not going, and the pitch is taken for a ball. We talked about it earlier, the big innings really getting to Mike Leake, and here's one guy that could certainly fall into that category for Leake with 1 swing, and that's Ryan Howard.
Well, normally when you have a guy like Mike Leake on the mound, you're not so concerned. Got 1 out, got a couple guys on base, but all that means is 1 ground ball out that he'll turn 2 outs with.
Howard with 16 hits this year. 6 of those 16 have been home runs. He owns a couple against Mike Leake in his career, and good numbers. First pitch taken just a bit low, and now time is called by Fryer. Mentioned it earlier how Ryan Howard has performed against the Cardinals, his hometown team. So just about every 11 at bats, he's going to take one deep. And here at Busch Stadium, he's played in 12 series in his career. He's homered in 10 of the 12 series against the Cardinals here at Busch.
Off a leak, he's hit .333 with a double, a couple home runs, 5 RBIs. He is striking out a ton. Struck out the first time. That's 33 strikeouts already for him.
You watch him play now, he doesn't move nearly as well as he once did with that torn Achilles, which was injured in Game 5 of the 2011 Division Series against the Cardinals. And did he do it again? Back goes Grichuk. Man, oh man. What's the deal with this guy? He comes to St. Louis and just kills the Cardinals. Howard does it again, a 3-run homer. Man, oh man.
He's got the long arms. Just look at this pitch. On the outside corner, looked like he didn't even hit it good. It looked like it hit it right off the end of the bat, and yet it still goes 420, 430 feet. And there's that big inning we were talking about. Nick retires 10 in a row, and just a bloop hit, and all of a sudden it submarines on him.
Home run number 7, RBIs 12, 13, and 14 for Ryan Howard.
All big hitters, home run hitters, like to get their arms extended. They don't want the ball inside, but you can see get the arms extended almost at the end of the bat, and yet got enough of it to carry it that far.
The 2-1 is a fly ball, skied into left center field. Grichuk under it, makes the catch for out number 2. This may be the final time that we see Ryan Howard play at Busch Stadium. Jaime Garcia pitches tomorrow, lefty, and Howard has had all kinds of issues against lefties, certainly late in his career. So this could be the final time. Who knows if he plays beyond this season. This is the lone visit by the Phillies to Busch Stadium.
Or you might go ahead and play him and say the success he's had against St. Louis pitching, why not?
A 3-0 lead, and here's an 0-1 pitch. Well, there's no doubting his power not only to center but also into left field. That's part of that plate coverage. Arms extended, able to take the ball the other way. 2 balls, 1 strike on Cesar Hernandez.
Mike Leake, just it's already 3-0. You just got to go out there and hold them down. Worry about only what you can control, and that is your pitching. Don't worry about the offense.
Cardinals trailed with Wainwright in Game 1, 3-0. Then it was his home run that turned things around. A little bit high, and the count is 3-2 with 2 outs and nobody on. That's a base hit into right field. So 4 of the last 5 have reached. "36 games at Busch Stadium for Ryan Howard, 13 home runs.
And what is it? It's over 40 RBIs now?
43.
43. Yes, he loves coming home.
Woo. Here's David Lowe. He played football and baseball at Mercyhurst College in Pennsylvania. And those around the Phillies will tell you, in college he was considered a better football prospect than he was baseball. Wide receiver, kick returner.
He made the better decision.
Had great speed. 1-0 pitch.
Get to the major leagues. You hope your longevity and your health will be much better.
Mentioned the numbers for Mike Leake against the Phillies. Has struggled in 8 career starts prior to tonight, but that's with a different cast of characters in this one. Throw that out the window. Runner goes and a good jump, and it's pulled foul.
Big crowd just kind of gotten silent, haven't they?
It's happened again thanks to Ryan Howard in a 1-2 pitch. Leake has had issues putting hitters away. He struck out 2 here tonight. Make a case that he was the best pitcher that we saw in spring training. That spring training.
But there were times in spring training I thought he got away with a lot of pitches up. Hitters not really zoned in. A lot of time some pitchers are going to be ahead of you.
Yadier Molina pointing to the Cardinals dugout. He thought he had the tag on him. Near pickoff of Hernandez.
We're talking about good athlete is Mike Leake, and part of that is being quick-footed. Get a better look here if he gets the tag down. Umpire's in great position. He's safe, don't you?
I would say safe. That'd be tough to overturn.
.50-50.
Said 50-50 at best. One ball and 2 strikes. Part of your mindset there, if you're Mike Matheny, is that you're down in the order. 2 strikes on Lowe.
Got the pitcher on deck. I mean, a lot of things could happen, so don't lose it on a 50-50 bet.
2-2 as a fly ball lifted out to left. Holiday was spun around, but under it. 3 hits in the inning, and one of those a 3-run blast off the bat of Ryan Howard. A start at first base tonight. With more on that, let's check in with Jimmy.
Mike Matheny says, in his opinion, the thing that sets Yadi apart defensively, aside from his obvious talent, is his desire to make big plays, impact plays with his defense. He says Yadi isn't afraid to take chances, and that aggressiveness will serve him well no matter where he plays defensively. As you guys pointed out, Yadi takes quite a bit of infield practice. Mike told me, quote, I think we can throw him out there basically anywhere on the infield, and he'll be really good. Dan, we've seen some of that already tonight.
Just his 5th start at first base in his tremendous career. And you mentioned a real key there, Jim, and I go back to when the Cardinals had elite defenses, and you think about Pujols, Molina, Edmonds, Renteria, Roland, all were willing to take chances even when the game was on the line.
Well, I thought that replay was a great example, Jimmy, because Albert Pujols, remember, they were so close and everything else, but how far Albert would go to his right gives Yadi that thinking too.
And Mike was pointing out that it's nothing against some other players defensively. They want to field the position. They don't want to make any mistakes. But Yadi isn't afraid to make a mistake, and he's aggressive, and he's got a feel for when he should take a chance. Usually pays off, Dan.
That's it out of play. I just remember with Molina and Pujols, time and again, could be a one-run game going either way, and a pickoff play at first base, or trying to get a lead man at third with Pujols charging and trying to get that lead man with a bunt. I mean, they would take chances, and more times than not, it paid off.
Well, I don't think there's the whole key to what we're talking about is having the confidence to go and be aggressive. And if you make an aggressive error, so be it. But when you're young, some guy trying to look over his shoulder, he's never going to go out there out of his comfort zone, and usually will make more and more mistakes. So you just have to, you know, it's just like a pitcher. You can't look over your shoulder and saying, if this guy hits this pitch, I'm out of the ball game, because you probably will throw the pitch in that location to knock yourself out. Something about knowing that, okay, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm still going to be here tomorrow.
Two balls, 2 strikes with 1 out, nobody on. Mike Matheny is just trying to get any combination to click with this offense too. It's another lineup change. Not had a game in which you've had, or 2 days in back-to-back games, the same lineup. 3-2. And that's a base hit inside the right field line, off the sidewall, and Holliday catches a break there on his way to second base with his 9th double of the year.
Well, we know that he's a low ball hitter, but that doesn't mean you can't handle a pitch that's up in the zone. And with his plate coverage, you see it way wide, and Holliday's eyes lit up as he saw that pitch at the top of the strike zone. They had it played around in the infield towards left, and so that ball goes off the sidewall, and Lowe had to retrieve it with an easy double for Matt.
Portion of the wall that jets out there and then goes down the line, it caught that portion. If it didn't, they might have been able to hold Holliday to a single. Team high 9th double for Matt Holliday. Here's Grichuk.
Grichuk batting in the cleanup spot. Just 2 for 21 against left-handed pitching this year, and we've seen him really have a trouble. Just a .227 average with runners in scoring position.
1 out and a runner at second base. And back to the lineup, Al. You're trying to figure out the right configuration of this lineup with young players that will have ups and downs throughout the season. Not an easy thing to do.
When you're talking about young players, and then you're also talking about some of the guys getting healthy. Bam's going out on a rehab. You know, Pena is not that far. Even Peralta down the road. So You don't want to have guys look over their shoulders and worrying about where they're going to be here. You just have to play the game and play it aggressively, but under control.
Here's the 0-2. Grichuk now overall 2 for his last 26. As you get a look at Johnny Peralta trying to make his way back after the hand injury suffered in spring training. He's talked about getting that front leg down. Randal Grichuk being able to take the ball up the middle or to right.
Well, he's got the power to hit it out in all fields. But it's only natural too. You know, you're young and you look at your batting average. It's not where you want to be. You're hoping 100 points higher. And you just want to come through. He had the 2 pinch hits the other night coming in. Base hit and then a home run.
The 2-2 outside. And with young players too, and with the lineup being turned over a lot, the guy goes over 3 or over 4. You know, you sometimes wonder, am I going to be in there the next day?
Well, I think that's where Mike Matheny is very skilled at, you know, making those rounds during batting practice, talk to all the players, you know, really explain what's going on.
Taken high by Randal Grichuk, and the tying run comes to the plate. Sunday in honor of Mother's Day, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home a Cardinals performance t-shirt with pink accent colors, courtesy of Power of the Pink. For more information and for tickets, visit cardinals.com/promotions. A ground out by Piscotty, double by Holiday, walk to Grichuk, and now Yadier Molina. 1 out and 2 on. Strike 1. I think it's easy to say, well, Molina really handles first base well. This could be a position of the future. While that sounds great, Cardinals, they could care less if he hits 100. They want him behind the plate. They feel he means that much defensively and with handling his staff and calling a game.
Bottle some of that energy, huh?
Get your phone, Mom. Hello? What? We are?
Kleenex, Danny. False alarm.
How many fights are those two going to get in their lives over the next 15 years? Molina chops it foul to Chris Maloney.
I might take this moment to say congratulations to daughter Nikki and her husband Dr. Nichol on the birth of Rutherford William Nichol.
Rutherford, huh?
Rutherford. Could be known as Ford, but Rutherford.
Rutherford. I like it.
He was born last Tuesday.
Congratulations, Al. You in June.
Yep.
Grandkid number
5.
That's pulled foul. No one is listening, Al, so believe me, no one is. You can tell me who your favorite grandkid is. No big deal. Don't even think about doing it, Al.
I got it on the tip of my tongue.
I know you do. Don't do it. I know you too well. Molina, a ground ball that's hit to short. Runners advance to second and third, and now time is called.
Not fair. I haven't met Ford yet.
Rutherford. 2 outs, second and third for Jed Jerko. Trying to keep you out of trouble. Not an easy thing to do. Cardinals need a base hit here. First pitch to Jerko. Taken high. Hit a bloop hit his first time up. Late break by Herrera. Ball that dropped in between the center fielder and the right fielder. All kinds of room on the right side of the infield. The 1-0.
Big gap between right and center fielders.
Cubbies win again today. 6-2 over the Pirates. As we said earlier, they swept Pittsburgh. Cardinals, if they would lose this game, would be 8 games back already. Here's a 1-1. And a ground ball that's hit to second. Taken by Hernandez. Cardinals strand 2. And we played 4. I knew she'd find the phone with the Kleenex. 3-0 Phillies. All right, Scott Warman, thank you. It's the pitcher in the 8th spot in the lineup. Adam Morgan, followed by Tyler Goodell and Herrera. No balls and 2 strikes. Seemed to be a great start for Mike Leake. First 10 he set down. Then a base hit, a walk, and a 3-run homer. And that's the difference in this game.
Had a couple nice defensive plays behind him. You know, one by himself, one by Diaz, one by Yachty. But he was really dealing out there. And then that little slap base hit by Galvis to left field.
Curveball and a strikeout. Chevy Fox strikes.
We always talk about how it's a game of adjustments. And Ryan Howard, his first time up, you see Leake goes with a sinker way off the plate and gets him to swing and miss. So the next time up, he's probably late looking for something away, and now it's not sinking, and it just stays up, and he takes it right over to Central for a 3-run home run.
The all-time leader in homers by the Phillies, Michael Jack Schmidt, 548.
We were there one time, and they have a list of all the pitchers that he hit a home run off. And I thought I had to be on it, and I wasn't, you know, because we were both in the National League East. But He hit the most. Michael Jack Schmidt hit the most home runs off of Bob Forsch. Forsch and Schmidt both had long, distinguished careers, and all the times they faced each other.
2-1 pitch hit to the right side. Molina scampers back to the bag for the out. Yadi thought about ranging far to his right, then got back to the bag.
Remember Eric Goodell, pitcher? That's Tyler Goodell's brother, older brother. He was a Rule 5, the young man that just grounded out, but he hadn't played above Double-A, so he's kind of a little bit overmatched, but probably play today and tomorrow against Jaime Garcia.
Here's Herrera, who is 0 for 2, and he rips it into right field. Piscotty going back, and it's gone into the Cardinals bullpen. 4-0 Phillies. Herrera with his 3rd home run this year and RBI number 10. And the 2nd home run allowed by Mike Leake tonight.
You could tell that Herrera is just a little guy that's got great speed. Going to be another one of the franchise players for the Phillies to build around, but he's got a little pop. See, Fryer wanted it outside, stays in the middle, and he just rifles it. The ball jumped off his bat. 3rd home run.
Galvis is 1 for 2 and looks at a breaking ball for his strike. So 2 home runs allowed by Mike Leake. Off the mound, bare hands, and fires a strike to Yadier Molina. Herrera with home run number 3. 4-0 Phillies midway through 5. On TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals wherever you go. 7, 8, and 9 for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 5th. Tejada, Fryer, and Leake. Tejada hit one hard back to the pitcher Adam Morgan his first time up. I think if you're the Cardinals, when you get concerned this early in the season is if you fall back by double digits. I mean, at that point in time, double digits get your attention.
Get your attention, but you still have a a lot of time to make it up. Think about 2011. You know, they were late August when they were in double figures back.
The 0-2 pitch. Line foul. Tejada looks back into the Cardinals dugout.
Ryan Blakely, that call. Very, very close. Assad. Chris Maloney, the third base coach, I think he pointed towards his eye when that ball down there. So the umpire's got the best position. They're going to challenge. They're going to look.
So they will take a look at this. The Cardinals are trying to scratch anything together, so why not?
Lead off double, you know, could be big.
You know, the Cubs now have won 9 of 11. That includes 7 in a row at PNC Park. The angle that we would normally have for you that would give us our best look is blocked by the third baseman. Let's take a look here.
Well, you look like a little white come popping up from the chalk line.
What they do is they chalk the infield lines and then down the left field line once it hits the track, but on the grass that is painted in.
But still, it'll flake off a little bit.
Just to finish the thought about the Cubs, they've outscored their opponents by over 90 runs to start this year. They are rolling right now, and that's without Jason Hayward contributing much. No home runs.
Well, he's out right now, I think, with a wrist injury.
Wrist. Yep.
A couple days, but it seemed like the Pittsburgh series, every time you looked up, they had at least 6 runs, and they were coming early.
If you're Mike Matheny, I don't blame him at all for wanting to take a look at this and trying to push it a little bit just to see if they can't get any offense going. Last night it was Aaron Nola, 7 innings, 2 hits. He struck out 7, and the Cardinals couldn't get a runner past first base after a Matt Carpenter double in the first. And he now has 20 innings of scoreless baseball under his belt. He was really tough last night.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be a good one. But I mean, you also, one of the byproducts of this is you got their pitcher out there. You know, he's out standing around for a while. Now he's going making a few tosses. This one may not have enough evidence to overturn it. Jim Hazen is singing when we need him.
Entertain the crowd with that.
Right.
After the day game tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Pirates will be in St. Louis. 3-game weekend series beginning on Friday night. All 3 games right here on Fox Sports Midwest.
And is it the Nationals go to Chicago for a 4-game series?
That's right.
But Cardinals just have to take care of their own business before they can worry about anybody else.
If this is called a fair ball, you have a reasonable expectation that would have been a double, and Tejada could wind up at second.
I would think you'd have a pretty good argument if that didn't go that way.
And you have to also take into account whether or not it's touched by a fan. Talked about it before, and that was not touched by a fan, but there is a high camera to show, and they have use of this in New York that's not being used on our telecast, but they can anticipate where runners may be once the ball is touched, or where the left fielder is in conjunction to where the runner is heading down that first base line.
Second base.
So it is a double for Ruben Tejada. And Tejada is asking whether or not he needs to touch first base. He does.
Apparently he does. It's pretty smart to ask. And now this is what Pete McCann is going to come out, and I'm sure he's questioning, well, hey, my left fielder would have been right there. He would have thrown him out. He should only have a single. Why is he at second?
The crew chief is Mark Carlson, who's down at first. Comes in to help the home plate umpire Quinn Wolcott with the explanation to Pete McCann. So leadoff double for Ruben Tejada. And it brings in Eric Fryer. Review time was 5 minutes, 1 second.
Wow.
So leadoff double for Tejada, and it brings in Fryer.
And Cardinals bullpen is active. There you see right there, would have gone off the wall, but the left fielder's back deep enough to where you'd have to say that'd be a double all the time.
Interesting here to see that Matt Bowman is up and throwing in the Cardinals pen.
I think it does say something too. You know, that the way Mike Leake is going, you gotta take the opportunity.
Not just Leake, but the offense.
Right.
Kept in front by Ruiz. Back to the bag at second goes Tejada. We mentioned it earlier just how good the Phillies pitching has been. And in a way, it's been historic. 6th shutout last night, as Al mentioned earlier. Most ever over 27 games since 1913. And a fastball misses up and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Not a hard thrower, but he's been able to spot his fastball, mixed in that curveball. Very good location tonight. 2-1 pitch outside as Ruiz trying to pull it back in. 3-1.
Moss is at the on deck circle. And even though some of these left-handed batters, it's an all left-handed bench for Mike Matheny, but Moss is hitting .308 against left-handers.
I think Mike Matheny is saying, look, our offense isn't going. They're not going to pull this lefty. Moss's numbers against lefties are okay, as you mentioned, and he provides what could be one swing and you're right back in the game.
Yeah. Bob McClure, excellent pitching coach, out to talk to his young man, but with all that delay, I mean, that works against the pitcher. He did make a couple throws, but then you kind of back off. But Moss
this season as a pinch hitter is 2 for 9. The 2 hits have been home runs. He's driven in 4. So runners at first and second. Nobody out.
Clock's already about 40 seconds now. Home plate umpire went out there but didn't break it up.
Well, Bob McClure can expect a letter from the commissioner's office. It's coming. And after letters, when that doesn't do anything, they start getting fined. So here is Moss. Cardinals saying, let's go for it here. Let's try to get back in the game. And that pitch on the inside corner for strike one.
Moss has got that back foot on the line. It's with an open stance, but got that slide uppercut, so he hits a lot of fly balls. But this year, a lot of his fly balls are carrying out.
The 0-2 instead of check on the runners. So this would be a short night for Mike Leake, which started off with so much promise. Retired the first 10. Walk, base hit, 3-run homer. Then he gave up a home run the following inning. 4-0 Phillies. And the 0-2 pitch to Brandon Moss. Hits it the other way. That ball will get down. It's a base hit. The bases will be loaded for St. Louis. Moss on an 0-2 pitch smoked it into left.
Well, that's what Morgan was talking about. Larry Anderson, one of the broadcasters for the Phillies, was asking him yesterday, what do you need to work on? He goes, well, I have no problem getting ahead in the count, but putting hitters away. And in this case, Moss comes through on an 0-2 pitch. Cardinals with a golden opportunity here. Boy, how big could that challenge look now?
How big could the move be by pinch hitting for Mike Leake? Bases loaded. A double by Tejada. Fryer the walk after a long delay in the review. An 0-2 mistake. Moss a base hit into left, and here's Diaz, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Nobody out. First pitch to Diaz is taken low. Tejada, Fryer, Moss all aboard for St. Louis. Outfield is deep. They are straight away. Diaz homered in game 1 of this series. The 1-0 pitch. Ground ball hit towards short. Off the glove of Freddie Galvis into left field. 1 run is in, and here comes another, and save! Oh my! Fryer somehow avoids the tag of Ruiz, and 2-run score. How is he safe on that play?
Now the umpire's right on top of that play, but it looked like the throw beat Fryer by a plenty. So it's only the question of, does he tag him? Ruiz dives for him. Look at the umpire's right there, and he called him safe. Looks like he gets him in the chest, but does the legs get, or the hand get there ahead of the tag?
They will review this again. This may be our best look right here. I think he's in there.
I think you're right. I think so too.
It's a great call.
He stays with the call, and that's why he makes it. He had tagged him.
I think he's safe.
It's a bang bang play. And you know why the Phillies are challenging this one, but Ruiz gave him a line he could slide for. He tried to go around the tag. Instead of tagging the legs, he got him up around the chest, but it was that left hand that it get to the home plate ahead of the tag on the chest.
Boy, the Cardinals push it here, and I'd have to say surprisingly with Fryer. Could have kept the bases loaded.
Absolutely.
And nobody out, but they went for it. Let's see if this move pays off and cuts a lead to 4-2. Let's give the home plate umpire a lot of credit here. Quinn Wolcott, he's in perfect position to make that call.
I mean, if anything, he might even be too close. But you're right. He gets his nose right down into this play, and he's in great position. And he stayed with the play, too, before he really called it, to see if he dropped it or anything else.
You'd almost have to have a camera angle and try to sync him up where you have Ruiz and you can see his chest protector, and then on the other side flip it and try to sync it up to see if it is there with that throw and the tag in time. Cardinals and all the fans watching here on the video board along with us, and it looks like the hand is in there safely.
It does. At least the home crowd is convinced of it. But I don't think they count. Had over 5 minutes for the first review this inning, and this is probably going to be another lengthy one too.
Here's the call.
Yeah.
So Diaz is able to bring in 2 with that hard hit ball that Freddie Galvis could not corral. Runners at first and second, and still nobody out.
This once again reaches for it, but he doesn't tag him until after that hand, the left hand of Friars, slides across home plate. And once again, that umpire is just in perfect position.
So the call stands. Go-ahead run comes to the plate in Stephen Piscotty. So it's a base hit and 2 RBIs for Diaz. He's now up to 16. You know, Fryer does run well for a catcher too. Runs well for anybody. Two on and an 0-1 pitch to Piscotty. He's grounded back to the pitcher and also grounded out to short. Hitting under 200 at home, but on the year he's at 288. Very good numbers with runners in scoring position.
He's at second base. He sees the plane. Well, he really doesn't see. He picks up his third base coat. You see Maloney is waving him home all the way. Very aggressive. The first time we've really seen a tough decision right there for Chris Maloney, and he makes it perfectly. And that's part of the job of a third base coach. Push the envelope a little bit. Sure, you're going to get some guys thrown out, but you can be safe more times than not.
Up the middle, base hit. A run will score. Cuts into the lead. It's now 4-3. Stephen Piscotty drives in his 17th.
That'll be it for Morgan, as Piscotty's his first hit, 1 for 3 today, but he came in batting .474 with a home run against left-handed pitching. And he puts the nail in the coffin.
Some crucial plays here at the bottom of inning number 5. Review of the double, sending Eric Fryer. Moss, though, scoring easily. It's 4-3. from here, Olathe East High School in Olathe, Kansas. Colton Murray comes in, and he comes into a dicey situation with runners at first and second. And nobody out. He will face Matt Holliday. Pitched at the University of Kansas. Drafted by the Phillies back in 2011. 13th round pick. And now he gets Holliday. It's a 4-3 game. First pitch to Holliday, who has doubled here tonight. Fastball and a strike. That double was number 9 for Holliday. Team high in that category. Also flied out to right. The 0-1 pitch. Double play ball. Out at second. Double play for 6-3.
That combination up the middle is pretty slick, aren't they?
Yes, they are. That's Hernandez, Galvis over to Howard.
Yeah, just the firm backhand. Freddie Galvis touches the base, vacates the area, and then fires over there. So get the double play. Diaz goes over to third. Let's see if you can't drive him in.
Grichuk walked his last time up. Also flied out to right, 0 for 1.
It's only the second double play that Holliday has grounded into this year.
On a hop to short. Long throw. The tag is there. Nice play by Howard on a throw up the line. And applies the tag on Randall Grichuk. Mike Matheny is going to make sure that that indeed was a tag on the runner, Randall Grichuk. If not, this game is tied.
Our third challenge of the inning.
Looks to be out. Brian Payne is saying no way. So the tag by Howard. And it looks like the Cardinals will not challenge this play. One more look as we head to a timeout. The Cardinals pick up 3. Strand a runner. It's now 4-3 as we head to the 6th. 56 now until September 29th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of Cardinals tickets at Phillips 66. Hey man, a couple of calls went the Cardinals' way. You can't win them all. Go find Jim Hayes. He's in the same state. Michael Franco, Ryan Howard, and Carlos Ruiz. 4-3 Phillies. Top of the 6th, and that's fouled back. Would you please relax, Al?
I'm under the table. Help me up.
You get so nervous with these foul balls. I don't get it. Matt Bowman is our Chevy call to the pen. Mr. Rough Tough Raboski. I know all too well after all these foul balls, after all these years.
Yep. Bowman comes in. He's got good stuff. He's a Rule 5 selection. Franco really not seeing the ball at all right now, and Cardinals are catching break. See if Bowman's got an answer to Mr. Cardinal Killer.
Three-run homer earlier tonight and a fastball that's taken for a ball. Mike Leake, 4 innings or less. 13 games he's done that. Last time was a year ago. And tonight, Mike Leake gives the Cardinals 5 innings. And the Cardinals went for it as his spot came up after the double by Tejada. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ryan Howard.
I don't think this is the way Mike Leake or any of us envisioned his season to go. Winless after 6 starts. Hopefully his teammates get him off the hook tonight. Pull out a victory in a game he started.
Off speed pitch is pulled foul.
Bowman's been a nice surprise. And with Seth Maness still trying to find his way through, Bowman's got, you know, he's a long man in this game, but he's gotten more and more exposure, and he's done a good job for it with it.
And a swing and a miss as Howard strikes out. Back-to-back Ks to start the night for Matt Bowman. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Matt Bowman.
See the fastball, slider, changeup. Smart kid. You know, he took his lumps last year as he led the Pacific Coast League in losses.
And a ground ball that's hit to short. Diaz makes the play easily. Matt Bowman comes in an easy 1-2-3. It'll be Molina, Jerko, and Tejada coming up. 4-3. And earlier today, once again, I was honored to MC the Cardinals Care Grant Ceremony. There's Jeremy Hazelbaker down there with Cardinals President Bill DeWitt III and Michael Hall, who heads up Cardinals Care. They distributed over $140,000 of grants today, and since 1997 they've distributed over $21 million. So congratulations to all involved with Cardinals Care. Close to 50 different groups received a check today, and we do this in the spring. We do another check giveaway near the fall, and it's always very special to be a part of that. So nice job by Michael Hall and the Cardinals. Also had the opportunity to MC. I was busy today.
Yes.
Season ticket holder event. I was told that the Cardinals are trending towards 3.4 million tickets sold this year. It's incredible. 3-0 on Yadier Molina.
And the schedule makers didn't do the Cardinals any favors, did they? You know, with no weekend series against the Cubs. Team out of town most of June.
A 3-0 pitch. And a ball to Molina. Leadoff walk. So the tying run is aboard. And Murray really did a nice job. He came in with nobody out. Runners at first and second in the fifth. Got a double play off the bat of Holiday, and then Grichuk the ground out.
These Phillies pitchers are kind of feeding off each other. They're all getting that opportunity, and they're showing up big. A leadoff walk. You know, a lot of times you get out of trouble one inning, you get yourself in trouble the next.
Here's Jed Jerko. Strike one. Jerko. And a blue base hit back in the second inning, and also grounded out to second with 2 runners on to end the fourth.
And we're still in the 6th inning. You can see that's the big lefty. We figured out how to say his name. If I see it, I think I can.
Elvis Arroyo. 6'7".
And about 270.
Season ticket base here in St. Louis is well over 20,000. Cardinals have not had a crowd under 40 since 2014. One ball, 2 strikes on Jed Jerko. Jerko, a bouncer towards third. Franco, what a play there on the pick to get the lead man. Boy, that's a good play down at third.
Franco may not be hitting, but he's still playing excellent defense. They knew he was very, very flashy. He's got a tremendously strong arm. At times, though, he'll throw a power sinker over to second base, but this bad hop, but it doesn't eat him up. Slings the ball over there. A little off the line, but the key thing was to get the lead man and leave the double play in order.
Talked to Ryan Sandberg last year, and I said, what impresses you about Franco? And this is when he was hitting the ball everywhere and for power, and he said it's not his bat, it's his glove. Love his glove.
I think he's 23 years of age. Herrera's 24. You saw Nola last night, 22, with that great pitching, and you know they knew he was in the pipeline and knew that he was going to be a strong potential number 1.
Cardinals, a lot of weapons left on their bench in this game. Carpenter, Adams, Wong, and Hazelbaker.
As a baseball fan, I'd like to see Velasquez. But he's the starter we missed in this 4-game series. He's making his name known throughout baseball.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. And he was picked up in the Giles deal. And Giles was closing some games out for the Phillies a year ago, was thought to be the closer this year with Houston, and has struggled early on.
First 2 starts for Velasquez, he was 15 shutout innings with 25 strikeouts.
1-1 pitch to Tejada. Bullpen has been really good for the Phillies as well, especially in the back end of their games with Jinmar Gomez. Only Kenley Jansen has more saves than Gomez, who picked up his 9th last night. The 2-1 pitch. Runner goes, hit and run. Cardinals avoid the double play by starting the runner as Tejada grounds out. So the tying run now, Jerko in scoring position.
In the 6th inning, we're already in the Phillies bullpen, but Phillies bullpen allowed 15 earned runs in 10+ innings in the first 4 games. Had a 12.66 ERA. But they posted, and it's gone down in this game here, a 3.18 ERA over their last 22 appearances.
Well, Carlos Ruiz looking into the Phillies dugout to see if they'll go to their lefty here, as Matt Carpenter has been announced as the pinch hitter. Elvis Arroyo, Araujo, will come in for Pete Maccannon's club to face Carpenter. The tying run at second base, and a 1-run lead for the Philadelphia Phillies in our Chevy called to the pen. Is the tall lefty that Al was talking about earlier. Big guy. He's from Venezuela, and he'll come into the ball game and face Matt Carpenter. Jeremy Hazelbaker has moved to the on-deck circle. He would pinch hit for Bowman if that spot comes up.
Arroyo, not only is he 6'7", but 274-pounder. See if we don't see some sliders here.
That is one big dude out there.
I saw him in the clubhouse, and yes, he is.
Oh, 1 pitch. There's the slider that misses away. If you're Arroyo and you don't want to deal with Carpenter, you can see if he'll chase that slider. First base is open, and take your chances with the struggling Jeremy Hazelbaker.
What we've seen from Hazelbaker, though, he's so even keeled that, you know, if he's in a little rut, he doesn't know it. He doesn't.
Talking with Jeremy today, he said, life as I knew it has changed.
It's over, right?
It's coming into the big leagues.
Let's hope having getting 10 years of experience up here. That's hope for him.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Carpenter. Fights it off, and a soft liner hit to Freddie Galvis. Phillies on top by a run. Hernandez low in the pitcher spot coming up. Most recent seasons below 500 in May or later. There's a look at the breakdown in recent Cardinals history. 2002, that team went to postseason play. 04, they went to the World Series. 14 went to the NLCS. It is early. Molina goes behind the plate. Carpenter stays in the game to take over at first base. It wouldn't be surprising, Al, as you go later into the season, Johnny Peralta returns. Diaz, let's just say for argument's sake, is hitting. You could have guys shifting around in this infield. There's a broken bat as Bowman has got the first 4 he's seen.
Yeah, I think Mike Matheny kind of alluded to the fact that Peralta would stay at shortstop and Diaz would move around like he did in spring training.
Sure.
Played a little second, a little third. Showed the versatility.
Tonight's starter, Mike Leake, 5 innings, 3 runs on 4 hits, struck out 3, and gave up 2 home runs. Bunt is down and rolls foul off the bat of David Lowe. So here's the young man that the 60-yard dash ran a 6.3. He could fly. Takes a peek down at third, and Ruben Tejada Misspoke earlier. Leake has given up 4 runs tonight. The next by Bowman, the 0-1. Little fly ball out to Matt Holliday for out number 2.
About the job Bowman's doing. Rule 5, I was saying that he took his lumps last year leading the Pacific Coast League in losses. But he was pitching in the Mets organization, and you're talking about pitching at Las Vegas, where all those great starters for the Mets that they have, that, you know, that they all, you know, their numbers were so skewed pitching in those small ballparks and where the ball would just fly. But that's why the Cardinals really like him coming in relief.
Here's Emmanuel Burris. I didn't realize his changeup was as good as we've seen, with all the legs and arms and how he delivers to the plate. It really sells his changeup. A little hesitation this time. There's the changeup there.
But you can kind of see, you know, how his motion, very slow, methodical, and then all of a sudden he jumps at the hitters and he does a really good job short arming the ball and hiding the ball from the hitter.
Chopped off the plate and foul. He's got a little of that Tim Lincecum delivery to the plate. Arches the back.
Yeah.
Tim Lincecum, by the way, had a showcase for any and all teams to take a look at him, and apparently his velocity the other day was pretty good. Wouldn't seem right if he was on any other team other than the Giants.
Yeah, they said they would be in attendance. I saw some were thinking that with Danks being released, and maybe Chicago is looking towards him, the White Sox.
Certain guys, it just seems like they should finish up with that team, and he's one of them.
Wow, what, 3 world championships with them?
Foul ball.
Last bounce went foul. Burris was on a couple of those championship teams with the Giants, but spent most of last year with AAA.
Two pitch. It catches the home plate umpire.
Got him in the left hand.
Right through Molina and to the home plate umpire.
Yeah, watch that hand. He has it behind the back, and it's still got him.
Two pitch inside.
I think a home plate umpire can crawl in, get any further behind Yachty, protect him. You can tell he's still feeling that.
Ground ball. Taken there by Carpenter. Flips to Bowman. Nice work out of the pen by Matt Bowman. Saw 6. Got 6 outs. Time to stretch. Phillies on top. have the lead as Matt Bowman comes in with 2 scoreless innings, settles things down.
Well, watch here the final out. Yachty set up away. Ball comes there, ground ball toward the first. Now watch his glove go up, because when you're running over there, you've got a speedy runner, so you got to run directly to the bag and just remind your first baseman, in this case is Carpenter, give me the ball chest high. That's why I want it chest high. And you saw a nice little underhand shovel from Carpenter, because Bowman got over there so quickly that it was an easy play. But if you got a slow runner, you kind of run parallel to the line, and it's an easier play that way. But if you got somebody that can run a little bit of speed, you got to go directly to the bag.
Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jeremy Hazelbaker will pinch hit here at the bottom of the 7th, and a fastball is taken high. This is our Chevy call to the pen.
Andrew Bailey is our new pitcher. His 4th appearance.
Hazelbaker 7 for his last 37. 16 strikeouts.
How about the Cardinal pinch hitters, though?
This is where he's been very good this year.
Yep. 7 pinch hit home runs. 13 pinch hit RBIs. Cardinals came in, they were batting .380, and Moss got another base hit as a pincher, so they're 20 for 51 with pinch hits this year.
Bailey has pitched with Oakland, Boston, and the Yankees. The 2009 AL Rookie of the Year. And it's popped up. Foul territory. Ruiz makes the catch.
As a tire Fox tracks, will show you the breaking ball, almost a hanger, but he got up underneath it.
Andrew Bailey used to be a closer, then dealt with some injuries, moved to middle relief, signed a minor league deal with the Phillies back in December, and was called up to the Phillies back on April 20th. He's been an all-star a couple of years. Cutter in there for his strike at 91. Aledmys Diaz and then Stephen Piscotty. Diaz with the bases loaded, nobody out, back in the 5th. Hard hit ball off the glove of Galvis. It scored 2. Got the Cardinals on the board, and then after that it was Piscotty with an RBI single. Cut the lead to 4-3, and that's where we stand right now. Bailey is from the Philadelphia area. High school was located 7 miles east of Citizens Bank Park. Down in the minor leagues, he had 5 innings, ERA that was under 2, and did have 1 win. Then he was called up. Diaz jammed just a bit, slowly hit to Galvis, gets down the line, but he's out number 2.
Bailey has been on and off the disabled list of minor leagues ever since 2010.
How good this guy used to be when he was closing games out with the A's. Very good.
26 saves 2009, 25 and 10, 24,
Ball 1 to Piscotty, 1 for 3 tonight. The bullpen has been outstanding here in this game for the Phillies. That catches Ruiz. It started with Murray. He came in with runners at first and second, nobody out. Holiday up, got him to ground into a double play, and then Grichuk grounded out. Then we saw Arroyo come in and face Carpenter with the tying run at second. Got a soft liner there. And now Bailey, fresh inning here in the 7th, started clean. He's got the first 2. Off the end of the bat and a base hit into right field. Piscotty is 2 for 4.
Well, Piscotty can hit. You see the ball running down in the way, and good piece of hitting right there. I'm sure Piscotty growing up knew all about Andrew Bailey and his success there against the A's in the Bay Area. A little feather in his cap.
Former Oakland A, Matt Holliday. Last home run for Holliday back on April 20th. That was against the Cubs. He doubled back in the 4th. His 9th of the year to lead the club.
Matt, just a good solid hitter, low ball hitter, hits the ball so hard that a lot of times he'll hit ground balls and they'll just go through, explode through the infield. Not really a home run hitter, but he hits the ball so hard sometimes they'll get the line drive that'll carry.
Broken bat that's hit to short. Galvis flips to second, and the Cardinals strand their 6th man of the night. We head to the 8th. Phillies on top. It's 4-3. Of 4 National League relievers with 20 or more strikeouts. 0 with 20 this year. He's been very good. And this is our Chevy call to the pin. 6 walks in 14 2/3 and an ERA that's under 2. Worked in back-to-back games over the weekend, so his first time in this series. And the Cardinals trail by the score of 4-3. Tyler Goodell, then Herrera and Galvis as we start play here at the top of the 8th. That's a nasty pitch right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And he's used his knowledge and his experience. Eugene Koo, our translator,
Here's the 0-1 pitch.
See where we now have a new female Spanish-speaking translator. Remember Junior Naboa? I guess it's his sister.
Popped up. Carpenter. It's playable in foul territory, and he makes the catch.
Well, I guess Major League Baseball has told all ball clubs to come up with a Spanish-speaking interpreter to help out the Spanish-speaking players, obviously.
And help us out, too.
And help us out.
Good work by Bowman out of the pen with 2 scoreless innings. He saw 6 hitters. It's Herrera and Galvis now with 1 out, nobody on.
Herrera's home run in the 5th inning is the difference in this ball game right now.
It's going to be very interesting with the new CBA coming up, how aggressive the Cardinals may get in the international market. They are willing to spend an awful lot of money, and it's interesting how that works out. As Herrera, who is homered tonight, looks at a ball.
Dan,
if you go over a certain cap, which some of the big market teams have done, in a way you're penalized then the following year, and some of those big market teams overspent, if you will, over the cap, and the Cardinals had not, by virtue of where they were picking and finishing, and so they've got money to spend, and you may see them spend an awful lot of money and go over that cap, take the penalty, and live with it to try to sign some of that premium talent out there.
You see the benefits you're getting from O and Diaz.
Right now, O's a bargain. The Cardinals have him, if they want, under contract for next year. Mike Matheny was saying he's just a pro's pro. You know, he's dealt with high leverage situations. You can tell that he's used to late innings and has grown accustomed now early on to pitching in the major leagues. 2-2 pitch. Just missed.
O tries not to walk anybody. Every pitcher does, but this guy is more successful.
And a base hit. Didn't get that called third strike. And a single into center field.
Fans a lot of times don't understand when we say it's okay to give up a hit here. It's a cardinal sin to give up a walk. You know, you make them put the ball in play, something good can happen. You have to play behind your mate. If you walk something, it's all negative. Nothing good from it.
One out. Herrera is 4 for 6 stolen base attempts this year. Freddie Galvis is grounded out to second, singled and scored in the 4th, and grounded back to the pitcher.
As Yachty's back behind the plate, you don't mind if Herrera tries to steal. O will keep him close. What do you do? Pay attention to him, vary your looks, throws overs, step off, do all kinds of things, and Yachty will do the rest.
Mike Leake right now is on the hook. He went 5 innings tonight, the starter for St. Louis. A little bigger lead this time for Herrera. Not running, and the pitch is taken for a ball. Pitchers talk about too that Yachty does not get greedy in terms of how he calls pitches.
That's a very good point, Dan. And seen catchers when they know it's a potential run, so they only will call fastballs to protect their throwing percentage. Yachty will use the best pitch the pitcher has to get the guy out.
Good pitch hit on his hands, and it's popped up. Carpenter makes the catch, and there's 2 down.
Even little guys don't want the ball in on their hands. See, he gets jammed.
Michael Franco grounded back to the pitcher, walked and scored in the 4th, and then struck out in inning number 6. That pitch to righties is almost unhittable. It's slider that he throws.
And if he throw it like that, where it starts off middle to the outside of the plate and breaks off the plate, especially you got a big free swinger.
Back to 0. And a scoreless top of the 8th for Sung Won Oh. 4-3 Phillies midway through 8. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Getting late here in St. Louis, bottom of the 8th, and the Phillies have a 1-run lead. Saw him pitch in game 2. That's Hector Neris, and he was tremendous. Struck out the side in the 8th. And this is our Chevy call to the pen. He's got 27 strikeouts this year.
Yeah, he's, look at that, 16 1/3. You've got 27 strikeouts, just 4 walks. Getting better and better. He's got a nasty splitter. And last year when he came up, he was a little timid with it. He was afraid to throw it. And if he got behind the count, then he became a little more predictable. But this year, he's got such confidence in that pitch that he knows he can throw it at any time for a strike or a swing and miss.
Andres Blanco takes over at third base. And Neris is into the ball game. Our crowd is 40,725, 40725. That one catches Ruiz for the second time tonight. Guard the line down at third. And Ryan Howard well off the line at first. Outfield straightaway and deep. Adam Morgan, 4+ innings tonight. We've seen Murray, Arroyo, Bailey, and now Neris. 2 balls, 1 strike. Grichuk, a bouncer deep in the hole at short. Galvis, long throw. The stretch out at first. Tremendous play. Freddie Galvis to take that hit away from Randall Grichuk, who got down the line.
Diaz made a great throw and play like that, very similar, but here it's now the Phillies shortstop, Freddie Galvis, and Mike Matheny wants another look at this. 2-3 steps on the grass, tries to get something on the throw, and very, very close. Long stretch by Howard helps him out, but it's all the shortstop and all just arm strength. He had nothing on it from his body.
Boy, that's close. The Cardinals will not ask for this to be reviewed. I think they got him.
Yeah, I think so. I think that last look really showed it.
Yep.
Yep.
Good call.
And that's why we're not challenging it.
Here's Yadier Molina in search of his first home run as he looks at ball one.
Had some great defensive plays in this game.
Molina 0 for 2 with a walk. He started tonight at first base and has shifted to behind the plate, his familiar spot. Just think the guy will be here forever. We know that's not going to happen, but it seems like he's been here forever as he came up in 2004. Carson Kelly is one of the top prospects for the Cardinals, who won a Gold Glove a year ago. He's a Double-A right now and off to a slow start offensively. Molina slowly hit towards third. 2 down. Give mom the gift of Cardinals baseball. New 3-game Mama Packs. Available now through Sunday. Choose from 3 great packs featuring matchups with the Cubs, Royals, and more, starting at just $84. For more details or to purchase, visit cardinals.com/mama.
Mother's Day's coming up, Danny.
I am ready. Wait a minute, where's that Mama
Yeah,
Pack thing again?
What else can you do?
2 outs, nobody on, and a 0-1 pitch. Jed Jerko, base hit, shallow center, back of the second. Grounded out to second and hit into a fielder's choice. Here's a 1-1. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Jerko down the left field line. It's hooking. It is caught. It is caught near the wall and near the foul pole in left. A tremendous play as Jed Jerko gave it a ride and nearly tied this game up. This crowd is stunned and quiet. How close was it? Oh. That may have saved the game. Phillies with a 1-run lead. about a foot away from tying this game up. Not sure it would have been a home run. The Cardinals had this view here. They thought potentially he pinned it up against the wall, but clearly we see it. It's a catch, and what a catch it is.
And that's Tyler Goodell, the Rule 5 pick, and his biggest contribution to his new team right there.
Kevin Segrist is the new pitcher for the Cardinals. He'll take over here in inning number 9. Chevy called to the pen.
Both bullpens have been great, haven't they?
They have. Numbers for Kevin this year.
He's really had that one bad game in Arizona when he was a little under the weather. Other than that, he's been very spectacular, and come to expect that from the young lefty.
Congratulations to Eric and Shanna Reamer on the birth of their new daughter, Everly Ann Reamer. 6 pounds 4 ounces. Everyone's doing well. We don't give everybody's birth announcement. What we do when it happens to the newest grandpa, Tim Garcia. Congratulations to Tim Garcia and his family. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, rough pinch hitting here.
Garcia, with all his years up in the booth for the various sports, he could write a book. Not sure I'd want to be featured in it. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Think about the defense of the corner outfielders of the Phillies. Last night, Peter Borges, his sliding catch in right, that saves a run, and now this one moments ago.
Yeah, I mentioned something to Pete Buchanan about the Borges play last night. He said he's already won 3 games with us with his defense.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's a changeup from Kevin Segrist on 1-2. Got him. 83 miles an hour as it tails away from the righty. And the first strikeout. Bowman, now Segrist. Really good work.
Well, look at this ball, the movement on the changeup. That late, quick, just dive away from him. Never was a strike, but got him to swing and miss. His 6-game hitting streak is on the line right now.
Carlos Ruiz. And the 0-1 pitch. Must have a good feel for that changeup tonight. That's 3 in a row.
Years and years ago, they'd say never do that. Now they want to run a fastball in.
And a strikeout, number 2 tonight for Kevin Segrist. That music means it's Blues hockey. Blues will try to take a commanding 3-1 lead tomorrow. And we have Missouri Lottery Blues Live, our post-game show. Tomorrow, following Cardinals baseball, coverage of Game 4, the Western Conference second round against the Dallas Stars. This is Hernandez, gloved by Tejada, and out at first.
They get another challenge.
To the naked eye, I thought he was safe. It's Larry Boa. I'm sure Larry Boa back in the 70s never thought he'd be on a phone trying to figure out whether or not one of his players is out or safe.
Sure looks like.
Well,
boy,
you have to have that convincing evidence. It's a good play by Tejada to even make this close. It's where it hits the back of the glove. That may have been our best look, the previous replay.
Yeah, I think that one showed that he's safe.
This game has been frustrating on many levels. Mike Leake doesn't go deep. Cardinals are trailing 4-3. They've missed a couple of opportunities to score, take the lead, or at least tie it up. And the break in all the play because of the replays.
Yeah, and here they had to ask for an umpire review, wouldn't they? This late in the game, and there's been so many reviews, can't remember who's won, who's lost. Some of the Cardinal players walking back out to their positions in the field. They're still looking at the video board, but look at the reviews today, Dan, just show you how good the umpires are, and he is safe at first.
That to me has been what has stood out with these replays, is that more times than not they get it right. The quick pace of this game and how fast these players are. This particular time, umpire review, and they call him safe. So here's David Lowe after the infield hit for Hernandez. With the Phillies want to do some running here, up by a run, and good speed at first, and Segrist, it's been a move that has improved over the years, but when he initially got here, many teams would like to run against him.
Right, and he worked very hard on it in spring training. Try and stop that the steals, because they were almost automatic, slow to the plate.
Cardinals will have Tejada, Carpenter, and Segrist spot coming up, looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth. Here comes the first pitch to David Lowe. Fastball and a strike at 92. Big gap in right center. Holiday and Grichuk fairly shallow. Oh, 0-2, and Segrist looks sharp here tonight.
Just kind of wonder what Lowe's looking for. A couple fastballs and you don't offer at them. He's looked at 2 fastballs. Got to check and see if Matheny wants to put anything on. Fastball away.
The 0-2, and he strikes out the side and sends us to the bottom of the ninth. Good work by the bullpen. 4-3 Phillies. Bottom of the ninth coming up. bullpen. He's trying to make it 10 saves this year. Jedmar Gomez closed out game number 2 last night. He's 9 of 9, and he has been very, very good this year. Here's a guy that's worked as a starter before. He's been middle relief. They were looking for a closer, and Gomez has stepped up. He's from Venezuela, originally signed by the Indians as an undrafted free agent back in 2006.
Gomez had 1 minor league save, and coming into this year he had 1 major league save. That was back in 2014 with the Pirates. He was with them the last 3 years before coming over. Colton Wong will get a shot.
Left on the bench, Matt Adams, and he would pinch hit for Kevin Segrist, who's due up 3rd. Wong on the first pitch fouls it back. We talked about the difference in how he is holding the bat yesterday. It rests on his shoulder, not as up and down as we had seen, and his hands are slightly raised. He's talked about how this, he feels, is more comfortable and has quickened his bat. Did that after striking out the first 2 times in this series. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Dan, this just shows you how tough it is to pinch hit. You've been sitting there for how long? 3 hours on the bench, cool night, and you come out here and you got 1 shot.
He's 2 for 3 as a pinch hitter.
Of course, that's been the story of the Cardinals. One of the big storylines for the Cardinals is how well the pitch hitters have been.
That's hit out of play. Isn't it amazing to you that you find a guy like Gomez and all of a sudden you may catch lightning in a bottle this year in a rebuilding season, and he becomes, right now, statistically, one of the top closers in the first 5 weeks of this season.
Exactly. And a guy that you would never think it, but just goes to show you, you know, a lot of people can handle the job if you get the opportunity and somebody sticks with you.
Would he hang a breaking ball to Colton Wong?
Change up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Taken low and outside.
Good job laying off that one.
The idea at the start of the year that Gomez would be middle relief, and here he is as their closer.
There's a slider. Cardinals have seen a lot of him the last few years when he was pitching with
Pittsburgh.
And you just, but it was always little different situations though, wasn't it? Not with the game on the line.
The 2-2 to Colton Wong. Fastball in, 3-2. Phillies scored 3 in the 4th on a 3-run homer by Ryan Howard. 1 in the 5th. Cardinals came back with 3 of their own in the bottom of 5.
Long 0 for 3 against him. Change up again.
A 3-2 pitch. Inside, and the tying run is aboard for St. Louis. Winning run comes to the plate.
Smell a come from behind victory. When you walk people late in the game, you're asking for trouble.
Matt Carpenter started the night on the bench. Molina got the start at first base. Went with a pinch hitter early on, and then Molina shifted to catcher. Carpenter took over at first base.
Problems the bullpen is starting to have for the Phillies is a lot of these same guys are being used night after night after night.
The Cardinals have 7 come from behind wins this year. Looking for their first walk-off of the season. 0-12 when trailing after 8. Ooh, and that was almost thrown away. Nice play by Darren Ruff, who took over at first base for Howard. Borges, by the way, is in right field, the former Cardinal.
Really short-armed it over there, and nice pick. Not what you're expecting. You're expecting something chest high or at least waist high.
Outfield is deep. Final bench player for the Cardinals, Matt Adams, on deck. First pitch to Carpenter. And a high fly ball lifted out to left field. Back to the bag at first goes Colton Wong.
Matt Adams has been a great pinch hitter. You know, not only this year, but all along, and he loves hitting against Philadelphia pitching. So
Adams this year is a pinch hitter, 4 for 9 with a home run and 2 RBIs. His last walk-off homer, a 2-run shot back in 2014. That was against Pittsburgh.
.286 hitter against Gomez, 2 for 7 with a triple. Take that.
1 out. Runner at first is Colton Wong. Adams rips it out to right center field. This ball is off the top of the wall. Wong to third. He'll stop there. Adams is safe at second base. Is that hit off the top of the wall, and fireworks going off? And why not have a review in this game? What else?
And you know, this is going to be one where you're really hard to tell. Dead center field, right off the Bank of America, above the Bank of America. Did it go over the wall or at the top of the wall, like you said?
Colton Wong, rounding second base to third, started circling as if an umpire would make the call for a home run. That's off the top of the wall.
Play, yeah. See it clearly. It hits on the green padding and bounces back into the field, not over that green padding. So a very quick decision there. And the Cardinals, they have an opportunity, and the Phillies have new life.
So it's a double for Adams. Carlos Martinez will pinch run for Matt Adams. St. Louis out of bench players, position players. Aledmys Diaz will be the hitter. Inches away from sending us home with a walk-off. Base hit could win this game. Diaz tonight is flying to right. He is struck out as an RBI. 2 of them back in the 5th and grounded out 2 short.
Only 8 strikeouts on the year. He has had 1. They'll potentially walk in to load the bases.
This will be just the 6th walk for Aledmys Diaz. They'll deal with Piscotty, who has base hits his last 2 times up for the Cardinals.
And Piscotty is 1 for 1 off of Gomez.
That ball got out there so quickly off the bat of Adams, even Wong couldn't score on a gapper. Plus, the outfield was playing so deep.
Now, when you saw Herrera, he was right there and got the ball on the, looked like on the fly, on the carry him off the wall.
This would be interesting to see how the Phillies will play this defensively. Bring the infield in. You think about the potential of a double play. Piscotty has a chance to be the hero tonight. He's grounded, though, into 3 double plays so far this year.
Well, here you are. You're going to find out.
3 for 6, 5 RBIs with the bases loaded. And what's left of this crowd of 40,000 plus, they're on their feet. Gomez, Piscotty with the bases loaded. 4-3 Phillies here in the bottom of the ninth. Infield is in. Outfield is shallow.
Wanted that ball down, and it's at the top of the strike zone, but a swing and a miss.
Wong represents the tying run at third. Carlos Martinez, a pitcher, the winning run at second base.
Remember, Martinez was an infielder late in his teens before he started pitching.
Almost hit him. Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Everybody says, let it hit you. But you just, very difficult to transfer that thought into your brain. You got a split second to make that decision.
Game on the line right here. 1 ball, 1 strike. The next to Piscotty. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Holiday is on deck.
Good pitch right there. In on the hands, just tying him up.
The 1-2. 2-2. The 2-2 pitch with the bases loaded. 3-2. Some drama here in early May. Can Piscotty win it for St. Louis? The 3-2 pitch. Ground ball, left side. Galvis keeps it on the infield, and Martinez is in a rundown. And so is Chris Maloney, the third base coach, as Carlos is tagged out. A run does score. This game is tied at 4. The risk you run with a pitcher.
I was about to say the exact same thing. And what a job that Galvis does to keep this ball in the infield and somehow scoot it somewhere over to third base. And you see when Carlos runs it, look at Tony.
Interesting that the umpire didn't immediately call Martinez out with Chris Maloney as his left guard pulling and trying to pull off the block.
I thought if anything, he got, and that's what Pete McCann's going to ask about this, because I think if anything, he said there was no interference.
Which then might put the runner that is standing at third back to second base. It is a base hit RBI for Piscotty, so a 3-hit night. And he has a pair of RBIs. What an odd night here at Busch Stadium with all the replays. Chris Maloney, the pulling guard. And Martinez caught in the rundown. And I'm sure they're saying that Diaz should be back in the bag at second.
I think that's what he wanted to argue, but they're not going to send him back. So it's up to Matt Holliday. Matt Holliday has 57 game-winning RBIs here in this new ballpark, Busch Stadium 3. The only man that has more than that is Albert Pujols at 60.
Runners at first and third, 2 outs, and a chance for Matt Holliday to win it. He doubled back in the 4th. First pitch taken for a ball. Do you pitch to Holliday, or would you rather have the bases loaded and deal with Randall Grichuk? Piscotty, by the way, takes second base.
Yeah, that creates that opportunity for you if you do get behind in the count to Holliday. As a pitcher in this situation, Dan, you can't. You got to think you're going right after Holliday. If you're thinking the other way, you'll make a dumb pitch and you won't get a chance to have Grichuk.
The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You have to have your mindset just that you're going to attack this hitter. If your manager wants you to do something else, then you readjust. But full focus on getting Holliday out. And I'm sure Mike Matheny would love to have Holliday have this opportunity to beat him in regulation.
Here's a 1-1. Holliday, a bouncer left side, and the Cardinals win it in the bottom of the 9th. Diaz scores. St. Louis, their first walk-off win of the season. Don't hurt the 36-year-old.
This ball club needed that come from behind win desperately. A good Phillies ball club that goes out there and battles you all the way. And Cardinals caught a few breaks right in this game, and Holliday finished it off. As I said, his 58th game-winning RBI here at Busch Stadium 3, just 2 away from Albert Pujols. It's the all-time leader. Bounces it right through the left side, goes on through, and then it was easy for Diaz to come on home. So that allowing Diaz to go to third base did play big in the final outcome.
The Cardinals win it. They were out of position players. Matt Holliday delivers for St. Louis. Boy, did the Cardinals need this victory here tonight. St. Louis wins it on the Holliday base hit to left, and let's head downstairs to Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Matt Holliday wins it with the walk-off base hit. First walk-off win for you guys. It probably felt great, huh?
Yeah, we needed that one. You know, give all the credit to Matt Adams, that huge double right there. Unfortunately for him, it was about a couple inches short. I'm sure he'd appreciate a walk-off homer, but we'll take the win. It was a good win for us.
Did you think that ball was gone?
It's hard to tell. It was so low. He hit it so hard on a flat line. I knew it was going to be a double at least, but that was quite a hit.
Take us through your at bat. You come through with the base hit. What's going through your mind? What are you trying to do there?
Well, I mean, he's a sinker ball pitcher. I've got a lot of at bats against him. I figured he's going to try to sink the ball down and in, and I just wanted to hit it hard and, you know, hopefully find a hole.
Wong gets it started with a walk too. That was huge.
Yeah, that was a big. You know, it gets the momentum going. Anytime the closer gets the first out, it's really hard to score on them. But when you get a base runner like that, and then you have a guy like Adams off the bench, you feel real good about your chances.
Big boy stuff. Thanks for the time. It's Matt Holliday.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. The Cardinals win it by the final of 5-4. Our Budweiser player of the game, Matt Holliday, his 8th career walk-off hit. The Cardinals look to take 3 of 4 tomorrow afternoon, but we have the post-game show, and it comes your way next.